5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City. A fusion of politics, commentary, entertainment, and sports. Steve and his team bring you the latest news and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. I love talking to Larry Kudlow, who will join us momentarily. Very few people that I love to talk to about the economy and intertwining the politics of it all. Stephen Moore of the Heritage Foundation, chief economist, and Larry Kudlow. I'd love to sit down with them both for an hour and just talk economy, politics, how they're interwoven, and there's no two better than them. There's no one better than either of them, I should say. And Larry will join us as he often does. And he's written a couple of great pieces, which we're going to talk about. And, of course, they both involve Barack Obama. And when Larry does join us, we'll talk a little bit about the one campaign promise that Barack Obama kept from back in 2008. It involves the price of electricity, my friends. It's soared since then, and he has promised that it would soar. Okay, first, a little bit of this before Larry.
This issue of tax inversion, this issue of American companies going overseas to reduce their U.S. tax bill or get rid of it. I take it you're not calling it illegal. Are you saying it's unpatriotic or un-American?
What I'm saying is that companies thrive in the United States in part because they benefit from the best university system in the world, the best infrastructure, although I'd like to see us do a little better on infrastructure. There are a whole range of benefits that have helped to build companies, create value, create profits.
All right. That's another way of saying you didn't build that, kind of, sort of. All right, joining us now is Larry Kudlow, CNBC senior contributor and syndicated host of the Larry Kudlow Show on Cumulus Radio. Hello, Larry.
Hello, Steve. You just said a very important throwaway. What he told my colleague, Steve Leisman, is an awful lot like what he campaigned on in 2012. His message to business, you didn't build this business.
Yep.
And I don't think he's ever lost that point. He really doesn't understand the entrepreneurial process or incentives or why shareholders want after-tax returns that are competitive. He doesn't get that. It's outside of his mentality, his sort of intellectual grasp. He doesn't get it. And all I'm saying is, just one time, in the weakest economic recovery since World War II, why can't this president defend business and make business more competitive globally?
Well,
why can't he do it just once?
Well, you wrote a great column about that. What if Obama defended American businesses, and how would things be different?
I mean, everybody, including his own people, acknowledge that our tax rates at home and overseas are the worst in the world. They all acknowledge that. But yet they won't engage, they won't negotiate. All you get is an occasional mention of the need for tax reform. Nobody pays taxes on what they earn overseas and what they earn in their home country. Nobody does that. We're the only ones. So our top tax rate is 35 to 40%, okay? The rest of the world is around 25%. We ought to go to 20 like Great Britain. But my point is, why can't he understand how important it is to be competitive, that shareholders want profits after tax? It's a very tough world out there. And if he wants to keep businesses home, keep them home. I keep them home, all right? No one's crazy about inversion. I don't want Walgreens to move to Ireland, okay? I don't. I don't want the pharmaceutical companies to move to London. But I understand why they're doing it. You want to bring them home? Get their tax rates competitive and stop taxing or double taxing overseas profits.
Because that would lead to success, and that would lead to the creation of wealth and business, everything he's against, and then he couldn't have the boogeymen to loopholes and billionaires and offshore profits. And I mean, that's what he's all about at his core. If he doesn't have those bad guys to tear down these, to espouse populist theories against, and separate the masses from them and the evil 1%, then who is he?
See, this just smacks of campaign rhetoric as well as his own ideology. In other words, I think you're basically right on 2 points. I think the White House has deliberately conjured up this phrase, economic patriotism, because using these corporations as whipping boys, because they need to get out the Democratic base. I think that has a lot to do with this, because everyone agrees with me. We had this debate on CNBC. Obama has done nothing to engage or negotiate on corporate tax reform, which he mentions every once in a while and walks away from it. So that's point number one. Point number two, I don't think the kinds of tax reform he's talking about is what American businesses want. For example, he says that there's all these loopholes. Nobody wants to keep the loopholes. You ask any businessman, and they'll tell you, just tax me once on my American earnings, not including overseas. Tax me once at about 20-25%. Give me full cash expensing for investment. I don't want any loopholes. So Obama trots out this loophole thing. It's like a guilt trip for corporations.
Right.
Nobody wants this stuff. That's the whole point of pro-growth tax reform.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with
I
you
mean,
more.
just once.
Yeah.
You know, this guy's been in for almost 6 years. You get some numbers today. This is the worst economic recovery. You're still growing at 2.2%.
Well, let's talk about the numbers, because everybody is going crazy from what I heard in the analysis I've been listening to. 4%. Oh my God! I'm hearing full employment, because they're predicting 200,000 plus jobs on Friday is report. Full employment by 2016. Everybody, Larry, they're saying on the radio, everybody that wants a job by 2016 might actually be able to get one.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not in that camp, because the people who have tried. Look, I try to be an optimist, and I've argued all along, yes, we have a recovery, and yes, we are creating some jobs, but let's put this into context,
right.
Okay? This is very mediocre stuff. You've got people dropping out of the labor force left and right. You can't ignore that. We are not creating the jobs to bring those people back into the labor force. Hence, wages are low. Hence, consumer spending is highly mediocre. And if I may go back to this corporate tax issue and add on Obamacare, which throws a wet blanket over business, this is the worst business investment recovery. This is the worst business investment recovery since World War II, and it's businesses that create the jobs. There's a clear link. So today's numbers, this is a weather snapback, I'll grant you that. I don't think anything's changed. You get a one-time inventory bulge. If you take that out, final sales are only 2.3%. That's really the number for GDP growth. All I'm saying is there's nothing new here. There's nothing. Businesses are not investing. Housing is the housing recovery is virtually non-existent. The workforce is discouraged and left. The same problems that we don't have the torque. We don't have the animal spirits. And I got to say, one reason for that is we don't have a president who encourages business. I worked for a president, Ronald Reagan, who said basically to entrepreneurs, go out and take a rip at the ball. And we're going to make it easier with less burdensome regulations and less burdensome taxes. We're going to make it easier for you.
Well, Larry,
this president, all he wants to do is argue and nitpick and call names.
And not only that, you wrote a piece about how Obama's crushing what you called the Reagan Link, and that's the link to the U.S. economy and international security.
Yes, this is a very important thing. I learned it from Reagan. I think we all did. I think George Shultz learned it from Reagan as Secretary of State. Success at home, strength at home leads to strength abroad. Weakness at home leads to weakness abroad. So the absolute central point of American national security and defense is a strong domestic economy. That's why we should unshackle it, okay? That's why these regulations and taxes have been so damaging. So, Putin, let's just generalize. Our enemies don't really fear us. This is the biggest thing I have. Putin is first and foremost, okay? He's doing what he's doing because he has not been fearful of the United States. But I would also tap into that. I believe China has the same attitude. I believe Iran has the same attitude. And I also fret that our friends and our allies in Europe, in Israel, in India, that they look at our jumbled policies at home and our weak economy at home, and they lost confidence. They don't respect us the way they used to. We've lost our leadership calculus. This is something, again, that I don't think the president understands. He's so worried about income inequality and redistributionism that he doesn't really care about a weak economy at home, and he doesn't understand how this affects him. When John Kerry goes around the world, people look at him and their jaw drops. They say, come on, what are you going to really do here? Show me the money.
Right.
Show me in Ukraine. Show me the weaponry. Russia is helping the rebels. Ukraine government that we back and give. Show me the military assistance you should have given
the
us
president
from day
said yesterday the purpose is not to increase the bloodshed. They don't need the weapons. They're militarily superior, he said to the rebels. So he's not giving them anything. But before I let you go, for the first time ever, a kilowatt hour of electricity is over 14 cents. And Obama, of course, in 2008, for anybody who was listening, said by definition, electricity rates would skyrocket under his power, his energy plan. And that's the one promise, Larry, that he's kept.
Well, okay. My answer to that is drill, drill, drill. As it was many years ago, my answer is frack, 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 drill, drill, drill. These energy costs will come down. And I'll give you 1 second answer, secondary answer. The U.S. dollar should be much stronger than it is. When the dollar goes up, oil prices and energy prices and electricity prices go down. We need a stronger king dollar, and we need to drill, 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 and frack, frack.
I like the frack, frack, frack part. Larry, thank you, sir. Always great to talk to you.
Appreciate
Larry Kudlow, ladies and gentlemen. Frack, frack, drill. I like drilling, too, but it just sounds nice. Frack, frack, frack. All right, we're coming back. Don't go away. And up next, columnist for the Wall Street Journal, James Taranto, will be here, only here, on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax Television.